All right, before we get started this evening, I just would like to introduce you guys to two very important individuals that are here this evening. We have Itzel Garcia from Lakewood Creek School, and we have Isabella Bobe from McDowell. They are essay winners this year, so what they're going to do is kind of help me out just for the beginning of the meeting. They're going to both hit the gavel very loud and then lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then I'll swear both of them in. So if you guys want to get on the other side, try not to knock the coffee over. We'll go ahead, and what you can do is hit it real hard. And then, do you want to hit it real hard? Yeah, that's awesome. And then say, we're going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Go ahead, say it. I'll say it with you. We're going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Trustee Sperling? Here. Trustee Lee?
Here.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
Trustee Marisak?
Here.
Trustee Bond?
Here.
All right. If you guys want to join me in front here, we'll actually run a meeting for a second. We do have a quorum this evening. We are going to move straight on to item C quickly, recognition of the essay contest winners, as I just introduced. So if you guys want to join me over there, I'll swear you guys in.
Congratulations.
Good to have you, Judge. I just have my verbiage. All right. All right. Sorry, I don't have this on. I wanted to give it to the judge after this for the swearing in. So I just wanted to kind of start off by saying we had a lot of people submit their essays this year. And these two really stood out. We were just talking about it earlier. They both had some great ideas of things that we're working on in Montgomery and things that we could do better. And one of the ideas was that she would try and make Montgomery perfect, which is interesting because that's kind of what we do all the time. And it's a never-ending process to make it better and better. So with that, we are going to acknowledge them today by swearing them in both as mayor for a day. So if you guys want to raise your right hands. You'll see this in a second. The judge is going to swear in the others. So let's see how we're going to do this. All right. So I'm just going to read the whole thing, and then you guys say, we do, okay? Isabella Bobe and Itzel Garcia promise that we will support the Constitution, or that we will study the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that we will listen to our parents and our teachers and will be role models for our students, our fellow students, to follow, and that we will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor for a day to the best of your ability. Say, I do. And then I usually shake your hand and everybody claps. And then I do want to present both of them with a certificate this evening. This one is for Isabella. Here you go. You want to hold that one up? And then I know the parents wanted to get a picture real quick. And then Itzel, this one's yours. And then as cool as that is, the coolest thing is both of them will get a $25 gift certificate to Rosati's and a certificate for a free wristband for one day at Montgomery Fest, unlimited rides. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Don't forget that. Let me see here. Isabella. So if you guys want to, I don't know if you guys want to take a picture. I promised you a picture, and then we ran out of time. So.
Like the little one on camera.
Okay. Thank you very much, and make sure. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and enjoy your day of being mayor. Awesome. All right, thank you. I think we're going to stay out of order and move right on to the swearing in of the newly elected officials. With that, I'll ask Judge McAdams to come up and the 3 newly elected officials to join in the center. Re-elected, all of them. And before this, I asked if they wanted cake, and they said no.
Yeah, you
So,
do.
no cake.
You were reelected.
You're supposed to take my hand.
Yes. Yeah, you got to hold it down real hard, yeah.
That good? Yes? All right. Can you hear it? Yeah. Yes. Okay, are you ready? If you could all raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee to the best of my ability. This is easy. You too.
Thank you. I'll get it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations, gentlemen. And Pete, how many years will you have served now, after 4 years?
Pardon me?
How many years will you have served at the end of this?
I've been on the board 28 years.
28 years, so that's very awesome.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, Judge, for coming this evening. Appreciate it. All right, with that, we'll move back up to item A, which is the public comment period. This is the 2-minute opportunity for any member of the public to address the board. Just come on down to the podium and sign your name in.
My name is Robert Bean, and I,
Just turn them, is the microphone on?
yes,
Oh, okay, you're just really tall.
my name is Robert Bean, and I'm a member of the Huntington Chase Homeowner Association, and as part of that, I just wanted to come before the board and say thank you very much for your perseverance over the last 8 years and your patience with us, and we just thank you guys for taking the time and the effort and with the resolution at hand. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Any other member of the public wishing to address the board this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to 2 proclamations this evening, which is D and E. I will read them and entertain a motion for approval. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the Village of Montgomery play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the Village of Montgomery. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency. And that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Now therefore, I, Matt Brawley, Village President of the Village of Montgomery, call upon citizens, all citizens of Montgomery, and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 10th through 16th, 2015 as Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Montgomery to observe Friday, May 13th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of the duty. I further direct that the flag of the United States be displayed at half-staff on all village government buildings on May 15th in conformance with the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994.
Move to approve?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz. Trustee Youngerman.
Yay.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Thank you. The next proclamation is for Motorcycle Awareness Month. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our village and state, and whereas Illinois is proud to be a national leader at motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are a common and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear, and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially important that the citizens of our village and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. Whereas the members of ABATE, a brotherhood aimed towards education of Illinois, Inc., continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school driver's education programs and to the general public in our village and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 102,000 participants in Illinois in the past 5 years. Whereas all motorcyclists should support ABATE of Illinois, Inc. in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect of the citizens of our village and state. Whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive time, money, and community service to national and community charitable organizations for the enhancement and support of these organizations. And whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in a safe sharing of roadways within the village of Montgomery and throughout the great state of Illinois. Therefore, I, Matt Brawley, Village President of the Village of Montgomery, in the great state of Illinois, in recognition of 29 years of ABATE of Illinois, Inc., and over 638,000 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of the continued role Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May of 2015 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the Village of Montgomery, and urge all motorists to join in an effort to improve safety and awareness on our roadways.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz. Trustee Youngerman.
Yay.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have several items. I'll read them off and entertain a motion for approval. We have minutes of the village board meeting of April 27th, executive session minutes of April 27th, accounts payable through May 7th, 2015, building report of April 2015, accounts receivable report, April 2015, cancellation of the May 19th Committee of the Whole meeting, intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Office of the Comptroller regarding access to the Comptroller's Local Debt Recovery Program, and item H, Resolution 2015-005, authorizing the purchase of electricity. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion. Second?
Moved by Trustee Heinz, second by Trustee Marisak. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Heinz. Trustee Youngerman.
Yay.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
That carries 6-0. Thank you. Under items for separate action, item A, we have settlement agreement between the Village of Montgomery and Fidelity and Deposit Company of Maryland. And with that, I would turn it over to our attorney, Steve Anderson.
Thank you. Before you, you have the final settlement agreement, which I'm pleased to report on, with regard to the Kimball Hill litigation that was instituted so many years ago, I can't remember anymore. Basically, what it does is it provides that in exchange for dismissing all claims against Kimball Hill and the bond company, that they will pay you the amount of $750,000, which you may then use to finally improve the roads and other things that are of concern in the Huntington Chase subdivision. We believe it is an appropriate and fair settlement and a long time in coming. I wish it could have come sooner, but I'm glad that it's here now. And with that, I'd take any questions.
I have a quick question, if I may. I know I've asked this before, but just for benefit of the public, once we approve this, how quickly can they fund the $750,000?
I believe the check is virtually in hand. I think
Okay.
it'll be immediate.
Thank you.
That was also my question. As I looked through here, I didn't necessarily see a time frame. It just said as soon as they receive a properly executed copy of this.
Yes, I believe that the attorney that we've been working with actually has it, the check physically cut already, so I believe we'll get it probably within a week.
Okay. I just don't want to see them
Me
hold things
either.
up.
Me either,
The good thing is that they've signed this contract already.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second by trustee Spurling. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
A resounding 6-0. Thank you. In a related matter, item B, which is award of a contract to Builders Paving LLC for Huntington Chase Road construction in the amount of $592,000. And with that, I would ask Engineer Wallers if there's any update on this.
Thank you. Well, tonight, we're pleased to present for award the low bidder for the contract to approve the repair of the roads in Huntington Chase and placement of the final surface. As you may recall, at the direction of the board, we went out for bids for the project in anticipation of this agreement coming forward. So this evening, again, we're asking for approval of award of $592,000 to Builders Paving LLC. And just mention that that's about 20% under the number that was used in the settlement agreement for the cost of the improvement. So we're pleased with the bid, and contractor's ready to go.
Awesome. Do you have a timetable for that?
Contract completion date is July 31st. As soon as we have the award and contact the contractor, get the bonds in place and all of the rest of the contracting done, we'll get a contract from them, and then I will let the board know what the anticipated schedule is. But the final completion date is July 31st.
Awesome.
Great.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines?
That carries 6-0. Thank you.
Quick comment, that only pays for just the paving, the engineering and all that's extra, correct? Correct. In other words, if people are sitting out in the audience saying, well, they just got a check for $750 and they're only spending $600, there's more to add on to that to get closer to the $750.
Well, I don't think it quite gets there, but we can provide a total accounting for it. I'd also just caution the board that those estimates for the paving were done some time ago. It's possible that there may be additional patching needed as we get into the final layout of the project, so it could vary a bit, but I think we're going to be securely under the settlement amount for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Move on to item C, which is Resolution 2015-004, which is approving the proposed 2015 street maintenance program and salt purchase. With that, I'll pass it back over to Engineer Wallers.
At the April 27th meeting, the board approved, we presented and the board approved the program in general, which included the MFT road maintenance portion of the work, which was the paving of Red Fox Run, Ridgemont Court, and Lafayette Street in Montgomery, obviously, and then Sherman, and then also the allowance for engineering and the allowance for salt purchase for next year. So this evening, we have the documents that are required by the state to authorize the use of MFT funds to expend on those proposed portions of the program. So it's the resolution, the engineering agreement, and the municipal estimate of cost statement. So I would request approval of the suite of documents this evening.
Thank you. Any questions for staff or Engineer Wallers?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
Carries 6-0. Thank you. Last item for separate action this evening, we have a software license and services agreement with SunGuard Public Sector, Inc. for Community Plus 9.0 and Finance Plus 5.0 migration in the amount of $24,060. That'll ask Director Van Voren for a summary.
Thank you, Village President Brawley. In front of the board for consideration this evening is an update of the financial software. This update is included in the fiscal year 2016 Capital Improvement Fund budget. This update will allow staff to maintain support on the software, train online rather than having in person, and then also download reports into Microsoft products. This agreement includes a software update, conversion of existing data from the old software to the new software, project management, and 1.5 days of training services. With that, I can take any questions the board may have at this time.
I have a question for you. The ability to download the reports into Microsoft products, that's going to help the communication between the departments that we've been talking about, correct?
That will help with communication between departments, also help if there's certain reports that the board may want that we do not have to. Right
don't
now,
have to
we have to
recreate
convert it, and it takes a while to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Just tacking on to Teresa's question, this gets us part of the way to compatible communications. It doesn't get us all the way, correct?
It does not get us all the way there.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved in second. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
And that carries 6-0. Thank you. We have just one item this evening for discussion, and that's solicitor permits. And with that, I'd like to pass it off to,
I can start if you want.
all right, go ahead.
We brought this back, a request by trustee Bond. We've had this discussion in the past. I think there are several questions out there. I know one of the ones that I know came up last time was about having both the name of the solicitation company plus who they are been hired by to solicit, about having both of those. And I think Attorney Anderson can address that. We did give you all a copy at your spot of the solicitor permits, just so you can see what they currently look like.
And yes, as to that question, which is can we add another line, so to speak, into the ordinance describing not only the employer of the person who happens to be there, but also who they are advocating on behalf of, no problem at all. That would seem to be a very simple fix, because the question is appropriate. I might be Steve Anderson, I might be working for XYZ Marketing Company, but I might be selling on behalf of Exelon, or something like that. So we can certainly do that.
Excellent.
I think it's an awesome idea. It's so confusing when somebody knocks on your door to understand where they're coming from and what they actually have access to, your account, that kind of thing. We've had some issues here and there, so. Is there any other thoughts on that?
I have a follow-up question. I think we talked about this a little bit last time, too. And I think it was trustee Bond that brought this up. We now have them listed on the website, is that correct?
Yes.
When someone has a
When
solicitor's
someone has a
permit?
solicitor's permit, we show it on the website.
Okay, Perfect.
And I
Thank you.
think we posted on Facebook as well, that she puts a Facebook message out as well,
Okay,
so that, to let people know that this permit was issued.
great.
And I've had 2 people tell me this week that they had somebody knock on the door, they checked, the person didn't have a permit, and they called the non-emergency number. So I think people are, it seems like, especially on the west side of town, there's a lot of solicitors coming around, and they're very aware that we follow this and we're tracking it, so.
If we can we go through the steps? If someone walks up to my door and they don't have, this needs to be prominently displayed, they need to be able to see it. But if someone doesn't have this, they call the non-emergency number, what happens? What are the potential fines? Can we kind of go through that?
Is that, Chief?
Yes. Most of the time, if the officer will be able to identify the solicitor and we're able to confirm that he was at your address, they'll be issued a compliance ticket, so they can be fined up to $750. All of our ordinances are like that, although with a solicitor permit, we usually issue just a compliance ticket.
Okay. And then also, as I read this, it says, card may be revoked upon violation of any village ordinance, state law, or regulation. If someone's soliciting, for example, on a Saturday, can a police officer take their solicitor permit? Is that, how is this revoked? If I have this and if I don't have this, or if I have this and I'm violating a village ordinance or state law or regulation, and this is now revoked, can the officer take that, or do we have to wait until Monday?
Well, you might have to wait beyond that, because a violation of law occurs only when a judge determines that. The police accuse, but the judge determines.
But in the meantime, the person can continue to solicit under the solicitor ordinance?
In
under
all
the-
probability, yes.
Okay.
But they would receive a compliance ticket, and it might be encouraged by the police that they may want to give up their activities, but they don't have to unless they're proven guilty of something.
Hours? Because I think that,
If we could, as a group, maybe deliberate the hours. I think it's been a long time since these have been changed. The Monday through Saturday hours are 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, which I think is a little family unfriendly. The Sunday hours are 10 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. And I would like to see some discussion about changing that 9 o'clock at night time to maybe even 5 or 6. In fact, I would throw it out there, 5 o'clock, make it the same every day of the week.
You have some thoughts on this? I know we talked about this a couple of years ago.
We did. Actually, these have not been in place that long. They've only been in place for a few years, and they were updated based on constitutional law and decision. And in particular, sorry to disappoint you, Stan, the reason that they are as late as they are, because they weren't always this late, is because the Supreme Court has opined that if you don't give nighttime hours, you aren't really giving a public venue to solicitors, because most people aren't home during the daytime. And so in order to allow the freedom of speech aspect of it, they determined that there needs to be nighttime hours, which is why we actually increased it to the 9 o'clock time period. I mean, if you want to argue about, 8 versus 9, that's probably within the realm, but I mean, you all can do whatever you want. Let's be clear on that. I'm just advising you. But I'd say if you cut it much shy of that, I'd be concerned that a challenge could be posed to your ordinance.
You'd be concerned about 7 o'clock?
I would.
How about only certain days of the week?
Well, I guess which days?
Friday, perhaps?
You want
I don't know. I will say this. I have been soliciting public opinion on this issue. There are a lot of people interested in it. And 7 o'clock was a number that came back quite often, because much beyond that, and the baby's getting a bath, and the kids are going to bed, and it's pretty disruptive.
I understand the point. I'm just the messenger.
Yes, sir.
I totally agree with you. I know that one of the questions I raised 2 years ago when we talked about this was dusk. You know, if somebody knocks on my door after dark, I'm not going to answer it, and I'm going to be kind of uncomfortable about that, I think. But we talked about that, and then we came into the whole realm of, is it dusk, is it dark, who's defining that exact time? The reality is, if it's dark out, people aren't going to be comfortable with somebody knocking. I totally agree with that, and I wouldn't disagree with 8 o'clock if we're in that gray area. But people also have the right to post a sign that gets them out of anybody ever knocking on their door.
No, not everybody.
With limited exceptions.
With the exception of political and religious.
Yes.
And we have no, if I am correct, there's no latitude. That's state statute, religious and political.
And constitutional law again. Although I will tell you, most good politicians respect those, because who wants to go up to a door that they've already told you you don't want visitors?
And I can say during this election process, there was several doors that said, no religious, no political, no door hangers, no anything. So I experienced that, and again, being respectful.
I've also knocked on doors late winter at 6 o'clock at night, dark, and people are not very happy to see you at that time of the night. When it's dark out, they just get more uncomfortable. So for what that's worth, I thought I'd share that. So
I agree. I remember talking about this originally, and winter is especially bad because it gets dark at 4:30. If we can do 8 o'clock, and you feel that that's defendable, if that ever should come up, I would like to do 8, 7:30, maybe just on April 29th, but 8 o'clock is fine.
I think 8 o'clock is defensible.
Okay.
any other thoughts on the topic?
I don't mean to always turn this way.
Is it,
$30 a permit, and that's each person, or just for the company, $30? The way I read it, it's each person, but I don't know if it's been that way before.
I don't apply the ordinance, so I'd have to defer to Dan or to Debbie.
Yeah, now Debbie handles that, so I'd have to check with her too. Sorry.
The other thing is, before, we used to just grab 911, because we had our own girls there, and you'd call 911 and say, get this guy off my porch, I'm ready to hit him, that type of thing, because they won't leave. Now you have to call the unlisted number?
Well, no,
That's what Steve said.
Non-emergency.
yeah,
A
we,
non-emergency number? You call that on a Sunday, nobody's going to answer that until Monday. Am I wrong, or Saturday?
no, first off, we shouldn't be using 911 for solicitor at your front door. You should be using the non-emergency like trustee Marisak said, so, and that's answered at KenCom,
Okay,
and they'll send an officer.
all right, that's all, make it clear, thank you.
Unless you want to hit the guy, then call
Well,
911.
there's been, okay.
Now there's, yeah, but
Pretty much. I mean, this is your ordinance, but
Any other comments
I
on?
think we should allow them
Go ahead.
to come on Sunday, solicit on a Sunday.
that, again, is one of those limitations you don't really have a choice on. I mean, I can write the ordinance any way you want, but I don't think it would be defensible if you limited, if you voided out Sunday.
It's just like the automobile dealers. They're closed on Sunday. We should have no solicitors around on Sunday.
The laws are different for different things.
Back to Trustee Lee's questions and comments. If this is $30, and do we know, is it $30 for the group? Is it $30 per individual solicitor license?
We'll have to check on that.
If it's $30 per group, I'd like to see it $30 per license.
It reads like it's $30 a person, but that's why it should be where the guy can see them, because what they do is they use their own badge down below here, and you can't really, they just say, yeah, there's a permit, and
my fear would be
It's
if you,
this.
if you bump this to $30 per person and they have 10 people, now they're going to come in and get 3 permits, and the other 7 people won't have permits. So you're really not going to get compliance, you're not going to get the background checks we're really shooting for, is to make sure that we have good people on the streets doing this. I would hate to see is by that fee being so high, that people would just avoid coming in to get them.
Well, the other-
If it's one or two people, it's not a big deal, but if you have 15 people canvassing,
And the other thought is that we have the fee to cover the cost of issuing the permit. We're not looking to raise revenue based on the fee or try and not promote this or convince people not to get a permit or come into Montgomery. The $30 fee is to cover our time. If you start trying to make money on that, I think that gets in a weird situation.
We'll get back to you on whether it's $30 per group or per person.
Well, it does include a background check, so there's got to be some cost associated to that. I would
That would
hope we're not
maybe
losing.
per person
Yeah.
then, since for when they have to do a check on.
A follow-on question about religious canvassing or solicitation. If we require a commercial solicitor to submit to a background check, so residents in the village have some idea of who's knocking on doors, anyone could walk up to your door and claim to be a religious canvasser as well, and there's no background check or deployment of any kind in that nature. Do we have that option?
No, I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's another one that's been decided since probably 1980, the only way you can equalize them is to lessen the requirements on the commercial speech. You cannot impose those requirements on religious speech.
My last comment on this, I'm less
Sorry
than...
that I'm giving you such bad...
I know it. Well, no one supports the Constitution more than I, but I don't always like what I hear. I would like to see us maybe look at something that's more visible and maybe, shall we say, more difficult to replicate. Let's say I were wearing it on my, I'd like the name to be pretty readable as someone walks up to me, and something that couldn't really be easily composed on a home computer.
The ordinance doesn't specify that, so the village could feel free to use whatever format it wishes.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that as well. My last question, everybody's favorite, the guys with the rocks and the baggies. Is that considered a solicitor, or is that considered a
litterer.
litterer?
A litterer.
Okay.
What is the distinction between canvassing and soliciting?
Well, technically, and in the ordinance, we use it throughout in tandem, so in effect, there's no difference for our purposes, but the technical difference is solicitations are sales. Canvassing, it references politics. In other words, you're canvassing votes.
Okay.
Are you saying that this guy can get a $30 permit, take his pickup truck and just start throwing them at every,
Absolutely not.
oh, okay.
No. We're saying that
That's
the
littering.
baggie with the rock and the advertisement, that's littering.
There, okay.
And he
You
doesn't
can't-
pay
and
30
You
bucks.
can't get a permit for that.
He can't get a permit, he doesn't even pay the $30.
Is the fine, if we caught one of them not too long ago, if I remember correctly, but if I go down a street and I hit 10 driveways, is that 10 cases of littering,
Could be.
or is that one?
Could be 10.
What's that?
I said you've asked that.
I know, I just
I
can't
know you
remember
want
the
it to
answer.
be 10 cases, I
Could
know.
be 10.
It could get very expensive if you hit one development, with 300 houses, while there's 300 cases of littering.
Again, you have to witness it, am I correct? Witness it, go to court, and then the judge reduces the fine to $50 and you go home.
Could be.
Okay. Chief?
Yes, two quick things. The ordinance says each applicant pays $30, section 13-3.
Awesome.
And second, Attorney Julian is working with DC Sanders and Detective Reisdorf on identifying the names of the owners of the companies for further prosecution on the rock with the landscaping and advertisement. So we're in the middle of that currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, it sounds like we do have support to change the ordinance to 8 PM. If everybody is in agreement with that, we'll move forward with that. That seems to be the only structural change to the ordinance.
And also the addition of the company that you're
Does that have to
soliciting
be on
for.
the,
Yeah, because what has to be on the sign, although the format isn't specified, the items
Okay.
are, so we need to add
so
that.
that and the company. And we'll look into the redesigning of that, but that's separate of the ordinance.
I'll work with Debbie on that.
If there isn't anybody opposed to this, can we put this on consent for our next village board meeting? Or the next village board meeting as soon as it's available? Okay. Thank you.
And may I one more? I don't believe we allow soliciting on Sundays or holidays.
Yes, you do.
Section,
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Section 13.6.
I remember right 2 years ago, that was again back to you, Steve, with the constitutional type thing, not anything to do with what we wanted.
Correct. You didn't want it.
I think in the old days, Dan, when you were a young man, it might have been that way, but I think
if we
Yeah, I see that, Chief, at the top.
stand 13-4, is that the section you're looking at?
13.6.
Yeah, but 13.4 says canvassing or soliciting on Sundays and state or national holidays is prohibited.
There's conflict.
That looks like a
That probably, oh, you know what that is? That's the format, and so I didn't catch that. We're replicating there what needs to be on the badge,
oh, okay.
and so that's not actually the rule. The rule is 13.6. That's what's supposed to be on the badge. That's inconsistent with the rule. We missed that, so we'll need to take that out.
Good catch. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. New or unfinished business this evening?
I have one item of unfinished business. Last meeting, we discussed the railroad crossing, and Engineer Wallers gave us some suggestions of what we could do to move that process along. I posted that link to the ICC to have residents give complaints. I put one in. I put it in as a trustee. I really wasn't expecting to get much back, but I actually received several emails. And long story short, they are saying they are going to be out this week to do repairs on that crossing. And the email that came back to me had about 7 other names on it, so there was maybe 8 of us that complained in one group. I know that President Brawley put one in. I know Engineer Waller said he put one in, unless you're one of the group here. But so hopefully this week, hopefully they will stay true to their word, but they say this week they're coming out to do repairs.
At a minimum, we have their attention, so
Absolutely,
filling that out.
absolutely.
Thank you.
I have an update. On the 29th and 30th, Village President Brawley, Jeff Zoffel, and myself went down to Springfield with the Metro West for the legislative drive-down. It was quite an eye-opening experience for me. I've not been to Springfield before. It's not often that your 16-year-old can trump you on a life's experience, but he had been down there already. We met with umpteen departments and met with the EPA. Jeff and I went a different direction. We went with different groups. We went with the majority leader and the assistant majority leader. Had some great conversations. We met with the Lieutenant Governor, Senate President John Cullerton, the House Republican leader Durkin, and one of our meetings was actually, well, they weren't at this one, but we actually met on the House floor, which was kind of neat. And Attorney Anderson actually stepped in and said hello during that meeting while he was down there. It was a great opportunity to go down and network and meet with the other villages and some of the lobbyists and just kind of see and get the feel and the pulse of everything. And I think it's an exciting time to go down. I think I picked a really good year to be able to go down because with the governor's budget proposals and everything that's going on, it was quite a hot button of topics down there. The major topics that were discussed was the cutting of the LGDF, which is the Local Governmental Distributive Fund, which is the money that we've been talking about being cut from our budget, along with public safety pension reforms, and the unfunded state mandates. So those were the three pretty big hot-button topics while we were down there. And I think the legislators are working hard at what they're doing. And again, we had a good week. I was giving Attorney Anderson a little bit of a hard time about some of the issues that were coming up, but the week before, we wouldn't have had any meetings with any of the leaders because they would have been up to their eyeballs in sessions. So that was it. I appreciate being included to go down. Thank you both.
Absolutely. And any member of the board can come down next year. The one thing that I would note is this is Metro West drive down, the 3 counties Metro West represents, Kendall, Kane, and DeKalb counties. This is the biggest year that they've ever had, with over 50 elected officials or 50 individuals coming from the municipalities in our area. We had mayors from Elgin, DeKalb, Batavia, Oswego. We had the new incoming mayor in Oswego, Aurora, Yorkville. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones.
Sleepy Hollow?
Hinckley, Sleepy Hollow. At any rate, we were more than well represented down in Springfield this year from the villages aspect and also Metro West. So I encourage those of you who have not been down to go in the future. So thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, hearing none. Future meetings, you can read them there. We have beautification meeting, the community planting day, Historic Preservation Commission, and then we just canceled our committee of the whole meeting, and I mentioned this last month, or last meeting. The intergovernmental committee meeting and village board meeting are Tuesday, May 26th. That's the day after Memorial Day, so don't forget about that. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of an employee pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1, and to discuss collective negotiating matters pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2.
So moved.
Second?
Moved in second. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yay.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Thank you.
Steve-O?
I'll call the meeting back to order and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved in second. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman? Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling? Trustee Lee?
Anybody want a gavel? No? Okay.
I'm going to test it.